When desperation meets destiny, the warning klaxon screamed through the cockpit of the salvage ship. Wandering star as Marcus Kane threw his vessel into a desperate spiral between two massive asteroids. Behind him, 3 hegemony patrol cruisers maintained relentless pursuit, their energy weapons painting deadly streaks across the void. Marcus gritted his teeth and pushed his ship harder into the treacherous maze of the void fields, where most sane pilots feared to venture. The void fields stretched for millions of kilometers along the galaxy's outer rim, a graveyard of shattered worlds and forgotten civilizations. Here, in this cosmic cemetery, Marcus had made his living for the past 8 years, salvaging what others deemed worthless or too dangerous to retrieve. Today, however, he wasn't hunting for scrap metal or abandoned technology. Today, he was running for his life. The pursuit had begun 3 hours ago when Marcus had liberated a cargo container full of medical supplies from a hegemony transport. The supplies were destined for the inner worlds, where the wealthy could afford treatment, while the outer colonies suffered from a plague that had claimed millions. Marcus couldn't stand by and watch children die while medicine sat in warehouses, priced beyond the reach of desperate families. Commander Voss's voice crackled through the comm system, distorted by the electromagnetic interference of the asteroid field. Kane, you're only making this harder on yourself. Surrender now, and we'll consider reducing your sentence to 20 years hard labor. Marcus laughed bitterly as he rolled his ship underneath a tumbling mountain of twisted metal. 20 years? Commander, you're getting generous in your old age. Last time, it was life imprisonment. He had been a thorn in the hegemony's side for years, disrupting their trade routes and redistributing their goods to those who needed them most. The corporate overlords who controlled the galactic government had branded him a terrorist, but the colonists on a dozen worlds knew him as something else entirely. They called him the Ghost of the Rim, a phantom who appeared when hope was lost and disappeared before the authorities could catch him. The Wandering Star shuddered as weapons fire grazed her port shields. Marcus's ship was fast and maneuverable, but she was old and outgunned. Against 3 modern patrol cruisers, he was fighting a losing battle. He needed to find somewhere to hide, somewhere his pursuers wouldn't dare follow. His scanner detected an anomaly deeper in the asteroid field, a massive object that didn't match the typical debris patterns. Most objects in the void fields were fragments of destroyed planets or the remains of ancient space battles, but this one was different. It was intact, purposeful, and very, very large. Marcus made a split-second decision and angled toward the anomaly. As he approached, his scanner began displaying readings that made no sense. The object was clearly artificial, but it was composed of materials his sensors couldn't identify. More disturbing still, it was generating a faint energy signature despite appearing to be completely dormant. The 3 hegemony ships followed him deeper into the field, their commanders apparently willing to risk the dangerous navigation for the sake of capturing the notorious outlaw. Marcus pushed his ship to its limits, weaving between asteroids and debris clouds, while the mysterious object grew larger on his display. When he finally laid eyes on it, Marcus felt his breath catch in his throat. The vessel was enormous, easily 3 times the size of a hegemony dreadnought, but its design was unlike anything in the current galactic database. Its hull was smooth and organic-looking, with flowing lines that seemed to shift and change as he watched. The surface appeared to be made of some kind of crystalline material that caught and reflected the light of distant stars in impossible ways. The ship was partially embedded in a cluster of asteroids, as if it had been hiding there for centuries. Vegetation-like growths covered portions of the hull, suggesting it had been there long enough for some form of life to take hold. Yet despite its ancient appearance, the vessel radiated a sense of patient waiting, as if it were merely sleeping, rather than dead. Marcus's comm system crackled with activity as the hegemony ships closed in. Unknown vessel, This is Commander Voss of the Hegemony Third Fleet. You are harboring a known terrorist. Stand down immediately or face the consequences." The transmission wasn't directed at Marcus. Someone on the ancient ship was apparently monitoring their approach, but that was impossible. The vessel showed no signs of active systems, no communications arrays, no indication that anyone was aboard. Then, as if responding to some unseen signal, the crystalline hull began to glow with a soft, blue-white light. Sections of the ship that had been dark for millennia suddenly blazed with activity. The vessel stirred, shaking off asteroids and debris like a sleeping giant awakening from a long dream. Marcus watched in amazement as a docking bay materialized in the ship's hull, its entrance outlined by patterns of light that seemed to beckon him forward. Without hesitation, he guided the wandering star toward the opening. Behind him, the Hegemony ships hesitated, their commanders apparently as stunned by the development as he was. The docking bay sealed itself the moment Marcus's ship was inside, and he found himself in a vast chamber filled with breathable atmosphere. The walls were covered in the same crystalline material as the exterior, but here it pulsed with gentle patterns of light that seemed almost like a heartbeat. The air itself felt charged with energy, as if the very molecules were vibrating with purpose. As Marcus powered down his ship and prepared to explore, a voice spoke directly into his mind. It was neither male nor female, but something beyond such simple categories. The voice was ancient and wise, carrying the weight of centuries and the promise of wonders yet to be discovered. "Welcome, young guardian," the voice said. "I am Solace, caretaker of the vessel you now call home. I have been waiting for one such as you for over 3,000 of your years." Marcus nearly jumped out of his pilot's seat. "Who's there? Show yourself." A figure materialized in the docking bay, tall and ethereal, with features that seemed to shift between solid and translucent. She appeared humanoid but distinctly alien, with elongated limbs and skin that seemed to contain its own inner light. Her eyes held the depth of stars, and when she smiled, Marcus felt a warmth that he hadn't experienced since his childhood. "I am what remains of the Etherian civilization," Solace explained. "My people ruled this galaxy long before your species learned to look up at the stars. We were explorers, teachers, and guardians of knowledge. But like all civilizations, we eventually faced our ending." Marcus slowly emerged from his ship, his hand instinctively moving to the plasma pistol at his side. "Etherian? I've never heard of your people." "Few have," Solace replied with a sadness that seemed to echo through the chamber. "We vanished from the galaxy over 3 millennia ago, but not through conquest or catastrophe. We made a choice. We saw that younger species were beginning to emerge, showing promise and potential that we had once possessed. Rather than interfere with their natural development, we chose to step aside and let them grow." She gestured to the walls around them, and the crystalline surfaces began displaying images. Marcus saw worlds of incredible beauty, cities that floated among the clouds, and beings of pure energy dancing among the stars. He saw a civilization that had mastered not just technology, but the very forces of creation itself. "But we did not simply disappear," Solace continued. "We left behind gifts for those who would come after us. Ships like this one, hidden throughout the galaxy, waiting for the right guardians to find them. We call them beacons of hope." The images shifted to show dozens of similar vessels, each hidden in different locations across the galaxy. Some were buried beneath the surfaces of dead worlds. Others floated in the depths of space, camouflaged as asteroids or debris. All were waiting, patient and eternal, for the right moment to awaken. "Why me?" Marcus asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm just a smuggler, an outlaw. I'm not guardian material." Solace's expression grew warmer, and she stepped closer to him. You risk your life to bring medicine to the sick, food to the hungry, and hope to the desperate. You stand against tyranny even when the odds are overwhelming. You protect those who cannot protect themselves. Tell me, Marcus Kane, what makes a guardian if not these qualities? Before Marcus could respond, the ship's systems detected the approach of the hegemony vessels. Warning lights began flashing throughout the docking bay, and Solace's expression grew serious. It seems your pursuers have decided to be bold, she said. They are attempting to board us. Marcus felt panic rise in his chest. Can this ship defend itself? The Lumina is capable of far more than defense, Solace replied. But first, you must choose. Will you accept the responsibility of guardianship? Will you carry the torch that my people have kept burning for 3,000 years? The weight of the decision pressed down on Marcus like a physical force. He thought of the medical supplies in his cargo hold, of the children on the outer worlds who would die without them. He thought of the hegemony's oppression, of the countless beings who suffered under their rule. He thought of the hope in Solace's ancient eyes and the trust she was offering him. Outside, the sound of cutting tools echoed through the hall, as though the hegemony forces attempted to breach the ship's defenses. Time was running out. Marcus looked up at Solace and made his choice. I accept. The moment the words left his lips, the ship responded. The crystalline walls blazed with brilliant light, and Marcus felt a surge of energy flow through his body. Information flooded his mind, knowledge that had been accumulated over millennia. He saw the true history of the galaxy, the rise and fall of countless civilizations, and a thread of hope that connected them all. The Lumina was more than just a ship. It was a repository of wisdom, a tool of healing, and a weapon against despair. Its systems could terraform dead worlds, cure plagues that had ravaged entire species, and bring peace to regions torn by war. In the hands of a true guardian, it could reshape the very fabric of galactic civilization. As the transformation completed, Marcus felt himself changing as well. He was still human, but he was something more now. He carried within him the combined knowledge of the Etherians and the burning determination of his own species. He was no longer just the ghost of the Rim. He was a guardian of the light, protector of the ancient wisdom and champion of the innocent. The cutting sounds from outside grew more urgent, and Marcus smiled grimly. The hegemony had no idea what they were about to face. Solace, he said, his voice carrying new authority. Let's show them what happens when you corner a guardian. The ship's weapon systems came online with a sound like singing crystal, and the Lumina prepared to defend itself for the first time in 3,000 years. The ghost of the Rim was about to become something far more dangerous, and the galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk from outlaw to guardian of ancient secrets, the Lumina shuddered as the hegemony forces breached the outer hall, their plasma cutters finally breaking through the crystalline barriers that had protected the ancient ship for millennia. Marcus stood in the command center, his consciousness now partially merged with the ship's systems, feeling every intrusion like a physical wound. But he also felt something else, the awakening power of technologies that could reshape the galaxy. Solace, he said, his voice carrying harmonics that hadn't been there before. How many of them are there? The ethereal figure materialized beside him, her form more solid now that the ship's systems were fully active. 47 armed personnel from 3 vessels. They believe they are hunting a simple smuggler hiding in an ancient derelict. They have no understanding of what they face. Marcus could feel the invaders moving through the ship's corridors, their heavy boots echoing through passages that had been silent for 3,000 years. Through the ship's sensors, he watched them advance with military precision, their weapons drawn and their scanners sweeping for any signs of life. I could disable them all without injury, Marcus said, his new awareness showing him dozens of ways to neutralize the threat. The ship's internal systems could flood the corridors with sleep gas, Or I could use the gravitational fields to immobilize them. You could, Solace agreed. But is that what a guardian would do? Remember, Marcus, we do not seek to defeat our enemies. We seek to transform them into allies. The wisdom of the Ethereans flowed through Marcus's mind, showing him perspectives he had never considered. These soldiers were not evil beings bent on destruction. They were individuals following orders, men and women who had families waiting for them at home. They served a corrupt system, but that didn't make them irredeemable. Then what do you suggest? He asked. Show them truth, Solace replied. Show them what they are truly fighting for, and what they could choose to fight for instead. Marcus nodded and activated the ship's internal communication system. His voice echoed through every corridor where the invaders had penetrated. Attention, hegemony forces. This is Marcus King, and I'm speaking to you from the command center of the Etherian vessel Lumina. I know you've been ordered to capture me and secure this ship, but I want you to understand what you're really dealing with here. Commander Voss's voice crackled back through the comm system. King, you're finished. We've breached your hull, and we're closing in on your position. Surrender now, and we'll guarantee your safety. Commander, I appreciate the offer, but I need to show you something first. Look around you. Really look. This isn't just some ancient derelict. This is a gift left by a civilization that vanished 3,000 years ago, waiting for the right time to help younger species grow beyond their current limitations. As he spoke, Marcus activated the ship's historical displays. The crystalline walls around the hegemony soldiers began showing images of the Etherian civilization at its height. They saw worlds where different species lived in harmony, where technology served to heal rather than harm, where the pursuit of knowledge and wisdom took precedence over the accumulation of power. Through the ship's sensors, Marcus watched the soldiers slow their advance. Several of them had stopped entirely, staring at the walls in amazement. He could see the wonder in their eyes, the recognition that they were witnessing something far greater than they had ever imagined. This is some kind of trick, Commander Voss announced, but his voice lacked conviction. Sophisticated holograms designed to confuse us. No trick, Commander, Marcus replied. This ship contains technologies that could end the plague ravaging the outer colonies. It could terraform dead worlds, making them suitable for colonization. It could provide clean energy for 1,000 star systems. But it requires a guardian, someone willing to use this power responsibly. Solace stepped forward, her form becoming visible to the ship's internal sensors. I am Solace, last caretaker of the Etherian legacy. Your species stands at a crossroads, much as ours did long ago. You can continue down the path of division and conflict, or you can choose to grow beyond your current limitations. The effect was immediate. Several of the soldiers dropped their weapons, staring in awe at the alien being addressing them. Even through their tactical visors, Marcus could see the impact of her words. This wasn't just another military operation anymore. This was first contact with an advanced alien civilization. Commander Voss's voice came through the comm again, but now it carried uncertainty rather than authority. What? What do you want from us? Nothing, Solace replied. We ask only that you make a choice. You can continue to serve a system that values wealth over wisdom, power over compassion. Or you can help us build something better. Marcus felt the ship's systems responding to his thoughts, showing him the true scope of the Etherian legacy. There were dozens of other beacon ships hidden throughout the galaxy, each one waiting for the right guardian to awaken it. Together, they could transform galactic civilization, ending the age of corporate tyranny and ushering in an era of cooperation and mutual growth. The medical supplies in my cargo hold, Marcus announced. They're just the beginning. This ship can synthesize cures for diseases that have plagued your species for centuries. It can provide food for the hungry, shelter for the homeless, and hope for the desperate. But it requires guardians who understand that true strength comes from lifting others up, not keeping them down. One of the soldiers, a young woman whose nameplate read Rivera, stepped forward and removed her helmet. Her eyes were wide with wonder as she looked at the displays around her. "Commander, if what they're saying is true, if this technology could really help people ... Corporal Rivera, return to your position," Voss ordered, but his voice had lost its edge. Rivera ignored the order and continued speaking. "My daughter is dying from the Red Plague on Kepler 7. The medicine exists, but we can't afford it. How many other families are suffering because of the hegemony's policies?" Her words seemed to break something in the other soldiers. Marcus watched through the ship's sensors as they began to lower their weapons, the reality of their situation sinking in. They had come here to capture a terrorist, but they had found something that could save the galaxy. Asterisk. Marcus activated the ship's external displays, showing the soldiers what was happening outside. The 3 hegemony cruisers were maintaining their position, but they were no longer alone. Corporate enforcement vessels had arrived, along with ships from several alien military forces. Word of the ancient ship's awakening had spread quickly, and now every major power in the galaxy wanted to claim it for themselves. "You see," Marcus said quietly, "this was never about capturing one outlaw. This is about control. The hegemony, the corporations, the military powers, they all want to possess this technology so they can maintain their grip on the galaxy. But the Etherians didn't create these ships to serve the powerful. They created them to serve all life." Commander Voss finally appeared on the ship's internal sensors, his weapon lowered but not holstered. He was a career military officer, probably in his 50s, with the weathered look of someone who had seen too much violence. "What you're suggesting is treason against the hegemony." "Is it treason to want to heal the sick?" Marcus asked. "Is it treason to want to feed the hungry? The hegemony calls me a terrorist because I redistribute their hoarded resources to those who need them. But what does that make them?" Sala stepped forward, her presence seeming to fill the corridor where Voss stood. "Commander, you have served your entire life in the belief that you are protecting civilization. But what if you could help build a better civilization instead? What if you could be remembered not as an enforcer of the status quo, but as a guardian of hope?" The ship's sensors detected massive energy buildups from the vessels outside. The various factions had apparently decided to stop waiting and were preparing to attack. Marcus felt the luminous defensive systems responding, shields strengthening, and weapons coming online. "We're out of time," he announced. "The ships outside are preparing to fire on us. I can protect this vessel, but I need to know where you stand." Commander Voss looked at his soldiers, seeing the hope in their eyes, the possibility of something better than the endless cycle of violence and oppression they had known their entire lives. He thought of his own family, his own doubts, about the system he served and the chance that had been presented to him. "Stand down," he ordered his troops. "All units, stand down and prepare to assist the Guardian." The transformation was immediate. The hegemony soldiers who had come to capture Marcus now stood ready to defend him. Rivera stepped forward, her weapon trained on the external sensors. "Sir, we're detecting incoming missiles from the corporate vessels." Marcus smiled grimly and reached out with his consciousness, feeling the full power of the Etherian ship responding to his will. The Lumina was no longer just a repository of ancient knowledge. It was a living weapon of justice, guided by human determination and alien wisdom. "Let them come," he said. The first wave of missiles struck the ship's shields and simply disappeared, absorbed by energy fields that converted their destructive power into fuel for the ship's systems. The second wave never reached the ship at all, intercepted by defensive drones that materialized from the luminous hull like angry hornets. But Marcus wasn't content to simply defend. The ship's systems showed him the true nature of the forces arrayed against them. The corporate vessels were carrying illegal weapons. The alien military ships were violating dozens of galactic treaties, and the hegemony cruisers were operating outside their legal jurisdiction. Solace, can you broadcast on all frequencies? Of course, Guardian. Marcus's voice carried across space to every ship in the area, transmitted with the authority of ancient wisdom and the passion of human conviction. This is Marcus Kane, Guardian of the Etherian vessel Lumina. To all forces threatening this ship, I offer you one chance to withdraw and avoid the consequences of your actions. The response was immediate and violent. Every ship in the area opened fire simultaneously, their combined weapons creating a light show that could be seen from the nearest inhabited world. But the Lumina stood firm, its shields holding against the assault, while its systems analyzed the attacker's weaknesses. Marcus felt the ship's weapon systems fully activate for the first time in 3 millennia. But these weren't weapons of destruction. They were tools of transformation, capable of disabling enemy vessels without causing casualties, of overriding their systems and showing their crews the same truth that had converted the hegemony soldiers. One by one, the attacking ships found their weapon systems shutting down, their communication arrays being overridden, their crews being shown visions of what the galaxy could become. The corporate vessels were the first to break off, their profit-driven crews unwilling to continue a fight they couldn't win. The alien military ships followed, their commanders recognizing the futility of attacking a vessel that could turn their own weapons against them. Only the hegemony cruisers remained, their commanders too proud or too afraid to admit defeat. Marcus felt sorrow for them as he reached out with the ship's systems, gently but firmly disabling their vessels and transporting their crews to the Lumina's holding areas. It's over, he announced to the former prisoners who had become his allies. The immediate threat has passed. But this is just the beginning. Solace appeared beside him, her form now radiating approval and pride. You have proven yourself worthy of the Guardian's mantle, Marcus Kane. The Lumina responds to you because you understand what we understood long ago. True power comes from service, not domination. Marcus felt the ship's systems showing him the locations of the other beacon vessels, scattered throughout the galaxy like seeds waiting to sprout. Each one would need a guardian, someone willing to put the needs of others above their own desires for power or wealth. Commander Voss, he said, turning to the hegemony officer who had chosen to stand with him, I have a proposition for you. The galaxy is going to change, whether the powers that be want it to or not. The question is whether that change comes through cooperation or conflict. Voss nodded slowly, understanding the implications. What do you need from us? Help me. Find others like yourselves, Marcus replied. People who serve because they believe in something greater than themselves. The Etherians left us the tools to build a better galaxy, but we need guardians to wield them. Corporal Rivera stepped forward, her face shining with hope. Guardian, if what you're saying is true, if this technology can really save lives. It can, Marcus assured her, but it requires people willing to use it responsibly. People who understand that power without compassion is just another form of tyranny. As the Lumina prepared to depart the void fields, Marcus felt the weight of his new responsibility settling on his shoulders. He was no longer just the ghost of the Rim, stealing from the rich to give to the poor. He was a guardian of the light, protector of ancient wisdom and champion of the innocent. The medical supplies in his original cargo hold had become irrelevant. The ship's systems could synthesize better cures than anything the hegemony had ever produced. But more importantly, he now had the power to ensure that such medicines would be freely available to all who needed them. The galaxy was about to change, and Marcus Kane would be at the center of that transformation. The age of corporate tyranny was ending, and the age of guardianship was about to begin. But first, he had other beacon ships to find and other guardians to awaken. The real adventure was just beginning. Asterisk.